The Vanguard Personal Advisory Services, PAS, referred a couple that hired me to do financial plan over to Vanguard. All right, they're going to leave Monte Carlo. They're going to leave Morgan Stanley to go over to Vanguard, the Personal Advisory Services, and they had their first what he calls an intake call, and he said intake call Friday evening with Vanguard went well. We're going to have a follow-up call with them, which he'll share with us his results and recommendations. He strongly hinted at a diverse allocation with the equities and the remainder and possibly bonds. I'm sure it's going to be ETFs. And then my friend here said, we'll get back to you to tell me what they said. He said, hey, by the way, I want you to know that my wife certainly thinks that you, Josh, are easier to talk to and more laid back than the Vanguard rep. I just wanted you to know that. I appreciate that. So a couple of things with the Vanguard or any phone. I emailed him back saying that the drawback about these phone center reps is they have a strict time frame in terms of how and when they can speak to people. And so I'll never forget when I was at US. Look, I worked at Vanguard a long time ago, and I was on the IID, which is the investment. I can't remember what it stood for, but that's where we help people kind of develop their own mutual funds and things like that. That was before ETFs. Investment division, something like that. Individual investment division, I think that's what it was. IID, if memory serves. But anyway, I was taking like 100 calls a day. I mean, there's no time for chit chat. If you were on a call too long, you got dinged. And I'll never forget when I first went to USAA. I was talking to this lady, and look, man, sales 101 is is KYC. They got to know you care, all right? Know you care, and if they know you care, they're more likely to do business with you. Well, how do they KYC? Some would say know your customer. I say it's know you care. It's by asking questions, just being a human being. Anyway, I'll never forget this. I was talking to this lady in Virginia, and turns out like her cousin lived right down the street from me in Dayton, Virginia, and I knew her cousin, and they knew us. And I can't. She was an older lady. Mennonite, and I remember I knew them, and I said, "Oh yeah, no, I know whatever Mixed Rex Road or whatever it was, Roar," and I forgot what the name was, but I remember getting to talking to this lady, and she was interested in USAA. I think she lived in like Richmond or Charlottesville or something like that. Long story short, though, when we're done with the call, she rolled over $800,000, and she wasn't doing that before. She just wanted to ask a couple questions about our services. And we just got to chatting and had a good conversation. And she liked me, and she was like, the call probably took an hour and 15 minutes. Look, I'm a kind of a talkative guy. I get that. Anyway, so we bring the money over, and back then they still do to this day. I know this for a fact 'cause I talk to my friends over at USAA all the time. They listen to your calls. Your boss will be there listening to your calls and literally giving you critiques. And one of the things that they would do is if you didn't say the person's name 5 times, they would critique you and ding you. And I get that because there's no better word in the English language than hearing someone pronounce their own name. That's just a fact. So I get that, but that was always seemed a little bit trite to me. But anyway, I got dinged. I got a BE, which is below expectations, which is a significant failing grade for that call. Because it went too long. Like I said, about an hour and 15 minutes. And I said, what's the problem here? I mean, I'm working on this is my client. I mean, what's the problem? I didn't have anyone lined up next. I didn't understand the problem. The lady wasn't, I mean, she was asking me questions. We were just having a conversation. And I'll never forget him telling me, this guy, Mike, my boss, well, you could have made that at least 30 minutes less. I was like, well, I could have, yeah, but I didn't because KYC, know your customer, or in this case, know you care. By asking questions. And not only that, I enjoy talking to these people. These are our clients. And anyway, I got below expectations, which is the worst grade you could get. And I said, I just rolled over $800,000 to USAA from a lady who was not inclined to go with USAA beforehand, was going to go to Vanguard. But she liked the approach I had, which is just a personality. And I'll never forget that. Anyway, so going back to, and I remember I walked out, I had never been, I was devastated. We had only been there for 3 months and moved to Texas. I had never been just so put off. It's like I made it, I remember calling my wife, I was sitting in the conference room. I said, we made a huge mistake coming down here. These guys, they don't see this. They don't see it as a relationship game. They just see it as pure, how long you've been on the phone, and it's with just pure numbers. Did you say the person's name 5 times? They don't care about results. They just care about these little tick marks, and it's still like that today. And it's like that all these call centers. And I'll never forget that. And I said, this is nuts. Anyway, long story short, thankfully he was no longer my boss a couple months later, and I had a new boss who I learned a lot from, and it was the difference between night and day. Anyway, the point about this is Vanguard and all these firms, I mean, they are there. They cannot be individualistic. They can, maybe tell a joke or two or, whatever, but they have constraints. It's just, they work for the man. There's no other way around that. They can't get too deep. They can't know your story. They just can't. I'm sorry. You are just a number for them. And so as much as I like the Vanguard personal advisory services, I recognize that it's not good for people who need that more of a one-on-one loving relationship. You're just not going to get that at Vanguard. And that's the problem I think a lot of people make with the financial planning is they want the one-on-one loving relationship with a personal financial advisor down the street, but they want to pay Vanguard fees. Or they want to pay Vanguard fees to Vanguard, but have the loving personal advisory relationship where they have with the guy down the street who they're paying 1%. And you can't have both. Something has got to give. So if you're going to pay the Vanguard personal advisory services fees of 35 basis points, you are not going to get that one-on-one loving relationship. You're just not. It's going to be very formalized, very stick to it, and that's pretty much it. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. In fact, so with these guys, they say, no, we'll use Vanguard to run our money for 35 basis points, but once a year we'll contact you, Josh, just to make sure we're good to go, like it's for $500 a year, whatever it is. And I think that's the way to do it, because I don't manage money, and I was no desire. I had a lady just a few minutes ago email me. She made a pretty big inheritance and wanted me to give her lots of investment recommendations, and she was very hesitant to get her info on the software I use. I said, I can't do that. I just can't do it. Investment recommendations, my investment recommendations are quite simple, and I don't feel comfortable giving you investment recommendations without knowing a full-fledged financial plan. I just don't. And so I told her, I said, you should probably go to Vanguard simply because if you are uncomfortable providing information to me on the software program I use, there's no way I can give an investment recommendation. Now, I can say, look, you do an index fund here, an index fund there. She needed a little bit more than what, just an investment review. She needed a detailed investment plan, and I'm not doing that just because it's not. There's nothing but liability in that regard for sure, especially if you can't get a gauge of what their overall financial situation is. So I said, go to Vanguard. They'll have a way to do it. You fill out their little documents. You'll fill out their little thing that says risk tolerance. All that stuff is CYA for Vanguard. They don't care about you as an investor in terms of your risk tolerance. They just want to be able to say if you ever sue them that you have this risk tolerance questionnaire that you can tell the arbitration committee, hey, look, we asked them about their risk tolerance. They told us they could accept a 25% loss, and thus, we're done here. And the arbitration committee would say, you're right. And they'll say to the lady, hey, did you fill out this out? Yep, it says right here you're okay with losing 25% in a year. Yep. Okay. What's the problem? It says right here you can handle that. Now you're down to 18%, and you want to sue. And Vanguard will win that 100 times out of 100 without question, unless it's fraudulently filled out. I'm not doing all that. I don't have the time for that. No desire whatsoever. So when it comes to just managing a portfolio, Vanguard's the way to go. That's why I tell people all the time: just go to Vanguard or my man Dustin. I don't care, or anybody, but just go to someone who manages the money, who'll give you all the risk tolerance questionnaires and all the stuff that you need to structure so that they can make sure they are not being sued by a customer that went wrong because the market's turned against them. And that happens all the time. And I don't have no desire to be part of that at all. So anyway, but that's the issue here. Vanguard, USA, Fidelity, all these phone jockeys, and there's nothing wrong with these people, but they're serving a job. They don't like the job. They hang up the phone. They go on to something they like to do. I know this because I worked at Vanguard. I worked at Charles Schwab, and I worked at USA. I know what these guys are like in the call center. They are just looking at you as a number for the tick marks. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's the price of the low cost. But if you are thinking you're going to get this one-on-one relationship with a guy who's going to call you up on your birthday and all this, you're just not going to get it. And I'll never forget when I was at USA, they took this TIA CREF model, which is horrific in of itself, and they put it in USA, and they tried to do it with some fancy sales techniques, which was essentially designed for you to bring us all your money so we could get paid. It was, not me specifically, but USA, the TIA model is bad. And so they literally said, we're going to write this email and we want you to send it out to all your clients. And you're like, but the email is not, everyone can see this is not personalized. It's like, we don't care. We just want the client to know that we try to reach out for them because we think that's going to make them feel better, like we're looking out for them. But you're like, but this email is completely just boilerplate off the shelf email. It's like literally has nothing specific to the client. Why would I do this? And remember, you had to do it or else you got in trouble without question. It's like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And you had to do it. The boss says we had to do it because the boss wanted to show his boss that, look, we're engaging our clients, and it's all smoke and mirrors. So anyway, that's the problem with Vanguard Advisory Services, is that you're not going to get a normal human being. You're going to get the equivalent of a robot who's reading to you robotic terminology. And now some of these are human beings. I mean, they have personality. I know who a lot of these people are, and I like them. But they're not going to be able to go outside the box at all. And outside the box, we're not talking a wide berth there. We're talking a tiny little box. They can't break free from that. So just keep that in mind. So that's my opinion. I still, at the end of the day, if you need investment management services, you're going to be tough to beat the Vanguard Personal Advisory Services. If you need that one-on-one relationship where you get to know somebody real well, know their kids, know their family, you're not going to get that in any of these call centers. It's just not going to happen. All right, we'll see you next time.